starting the day here in Cogar, Oklahoma. And while there's not a lot of information about the actual town of Cogar and the history, it's actually a pretty well-known place, especially for people that like to take photographs of ghost towns. And the reason is because where I'm sitting right now, this is an old general store, gas station type thing. And it was in a movie scene in the movie Rain Man with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. I think they were in a phone booth or something like that, and were stopped here to make a call at a phone booth back before cell phones, when you had to stop and make phone calls. And this was where it happened, right here in Cogar, Oklahoma. I don't know why they picked it. It's kind of a interesting place. It's beautiful, old, kind of abandoned place, and it would have been decades after the town, the post office closed, which the post office was open for like 50 years in the first part of the 20th century. Other than that, there's not a lot known that I could find about the history of the town. And it was probably pretty small, and this was a little, oasis in the middle of the rural areas here of Oklahoma to stop and get what you needed. It's really, really interesting to see it. I mean, they've kind of preserved it, you could say. I mean, it's, the old signs and the old gas pumps. It's 49 cents a gallon on there. Really neat place to stop. And I was a big fan of Rain Man, and one of the reasons was because it was filmed partially in where I grew up in Cincinnati, and now to see part of it is in Cincinnati, and now I've visited another of the filming locations of Rain Man. Is pretty cool.
No, Lenny, just shut up a second. Let me see if I understand this.
Very small.
It's going to cost me $10,000 additional for each car.
It's very crowded.
Is that Ray? Just
crowded
please, just
in here.
one little second, okay?
Definitely
Yes, we're going, Ray. Just take it easy. Just take it easy. Huh? Where am I going to find a television round?
8 minutes to walk here.
8 minutes to walk.
Our next community is Spring Creek, and it's a bit of a mystery to me, and by now I'm sure you're making fun of my tan lines there. That's the result of being a track coach in the spring in a sunny place like Wichita, Kansas. That's called the old track tan lines. So yeah, have some fun at my expense. Sunglasses and a ball cap every day make that happen. So but anyways, if you can keep focus, I'll try to put the focus on other things except the side of my head. But Spring Creek is a bit of a mystery for me, and I read that there was a schoolhouse and a cemetery and a church, and as I came down through here, I found different things, but they're all kind of spread out. So this may have been the schoolhouse behind me. There's not much there. There's not much there except for some, there's a fireplace, obviously, but there's just some scattered kind of foundational remains, and there's another building kind of down the way, which is pretty old and interesting to look at. And then as you go down the street about a mile, there's a couple houses. I'm not sure if those used to be something else, or I just kind of drove through there. And then another mile or so is a church called Spring Creek Baptist Church. So it's almost 2 miles down the way, but I don't know too much about the town. Obviously there was people here enough to have a school, and there's still a few houses here. So I'll try to show you what's here. but once again, it's kind of spread out, and I read that there was maybe a cemetery here. Have not been able to find the cemetery. So any Oklahoma experts can put in the comments if they know anything about Spring Creek that I've not been able to show here. As I was heading to my next ghost town, just west a couple miles, I ran into Spring Creek Cemetery just randomly. So, like I said, just west a couple miles. So it really makes everything spread out around Spring Creek. There's the town and the old school and the church and the cemetery, all very spread out. And just down the way as well, not too far, this doesn't have anything to do with ghost towns, but I thought I would just put it in here, the Lost Cowboy Church. Interesting name, and was able to peer inside. Pretty cool little church. And then one other thing I saw was this, and I have no words. There you go, Oklahoma. Good job. We have reached the town of Oney, which is technically called Albert, and the reason it has two different names is it was originally called Oney. It was after a friend of the guy who I think originally founded the town, and eventually they found that there was another town named Oney, O-N-E-Y, and so they had to change the name. They changed it to Albert, but apparently everyone here still refers to this area as Oney. There was even a school here named Oney, and the only thing that is referred to as Albert is the post office, of which was supposed to be closed over a decade ago, but still remains open. It's a very small post office, and so don't know if it will eventually close, but it appears that it's still open as of today. As you're going around town, there's certainly a lot of abandoned buildings. There are a few people living here. You can tell it's not totally an abandoned town. And then this is a sweet potato manufacturer farm. And so kind of interesting that it's a pretty large operation here, right in the middle of pretty much a ghost town. Well, I've officially made it to the middle of nowhere. How did a place become called Nowhere, Oklahoma? It's kind of a funny story. There was a couple from California that moved out here, and the wife was not very happy about it, and she kept saying, "You have brought me to the middle of nowhere," to her husband, and her husband decided, what a great name for a new community. And that's how Nowhere, Oklahoma came to be. It's actually never been a town. It's just an unincorporated community. It does have a couple businesses. Let's go check them out. Probably one of the most photographed places in terms of ghost towns there is because I hate when a car drives right past you when you're in the middle of saying something good. I'll start over. Hey, buddy. Hey. That is some serious red dirt. Hey, do you know if that was a school? Okay, never mind. I've officially made it to the middle. So there's more than nothing to nowhere. So would that make this the middle of somewhere? Not very funny.